And welcome back to episode number 48
of the Not So Perfect Podcast. I am Matt Chin, as always, with
Gerardo Cornejo. Hola.
Welcome, everybody. Hola is Spanish for welcome as well.
Man, had a great weekend. We were on the radio. That was a wonderful experience. Those of you that listened, thank you.
Yeah, I'll make sure we get that link.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't do anything. I'll make sure Gerardo gets the link that we can put in the description below if anybody would like to go back and listen to our KWOS open air Saturday morning radio show that we did. Had a lot of fun doing it.
Shout out to Judge Cotton Walker.
Yeah, just
that boy's smooth.
Combination of velvet and peanut butter when he's on the mics. You know?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Judge Walker, for having us.
Yes.
We got to meet a great new person. Well, I got to meet Matt for the first time.
Yeah, Matt is a great dude. They weren't always referring to the same Matt. There was me and there was another Matt standing next to me. Where other Matt is the one that's putting on the Christian rock concert next weekend, or this coming weekend, Saturday, out at the used to be the old Mid-City Lumber Solid Rock Church, I think. But anyways, free concert. Great day of just being sober and being alive, enjoying some good music.
He became my new Facebook friend right away.
Perfect.
And I saw that he is from Southern California, right around the corner. So me, him, and Jimmy were just
looky there,
right there, running all those streets.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of neat too. We got to meet. We kind of got to all chat a little bit before the radio. So we got together about 7:45 and just kind of loosening the tension, if anybody was nervous or whatever. It's just four of us guys just shooting the breeze and just average guys just trying to do good.
Yep.
But what I thought was kind of neat too was, and I didn't know this until the other Matt said so on the air, he got saved in jail too. He surrendered to God and God helped him out like he helped me out, So I didn't know that going into it. So as he's saying it, I'm like, no kidding. So it's just a very small world of how great God can be. I
almost asked if they were in the same jail cell, if they read the same quote.
We haven't got to do the walkthrough to see, so he could show me where he stayed and I showed him where I stayed. Not that I could probably remember, but yeah. So I mean, it's just, it never ceases to amaze me, the people I meet and their stories, with how I got sober and with how they got sober and just how many things line up. So I just think that's always just a God thing. I don't have to ask questions why. I just kind of smile and just, all right, let's keep it moving, So yeah, I had a lot of fun there and just a great day. After it was done, me and Gerardo, we had the creative juices flowing, so we had to keep the party rolling. We got some 3-Story coffee, shout out 3-Story. And we're just bouncing some ideas around off our heads. And, I think we got some good stuff moving forward. But I think the biggest thing about that is just trying to do a little bit better every day, and doing that over time, you realize that maybe what you thought was a mountain at the beginning just turns out it's a lot of wins that you just start stacking, and over time you create your own mountain.
We overcomplicated so much. It's just being in our heads, and I think that kind of leads us to where you want to go today.
Yes. So I was telling Gerardo I was out in his neck of the woods last night. I was at the Wardsville AA meeting. And shout out Wardsville AA. Man, we had a great meeting last night. There's probably 20 people there, and for Wardsville, that's a very big meeting. So a lot of good people there, a lot of good sobriety there, a lot of years of sobriety. And, I look around that table, and it's the same people that were there whenever I got home into Jeff City after getting sober and going through Valley Hope. That was the first meeting I went to, and I'm still listening. I'm still coming back because it's, what I like about that meeting is it's just 100% authentic and honest. No sugarcoating. It's just ripe, raw, and in your face. And that's what I like and that's what I need. So the topic of discussion last night was surrendering. And surrendering for us means, or for me means, I had to surrender 100% to my higher power to get sober and stay sober. And you might be able to put your own spin on that, but most people, when they hear the word surrender, if you're a guy, you probably look at it as a
weakness.
Sign of weakness. And honest to God, surrendering to God, not to throw that word in too much, but for me to surrender was where I found salvation. So you can either look at surrendering as a sign of weakness, or you can look at it as, look, I got a plan. I'm going to execute this plan. And when you get in there and you start executing and you realize real quick that this ain't the right plan, is there going to be salvation continuing with a plan that you know is not going to work and continuing it into battle? Or is there a sign of retreat and a sign of power that comes from retreat? Knowing that, you know what, we had a plan, we practiced it, we rehearsed it, we went through it 1,000 times and it always worked, but the day of, it didn't work. Are you still going to try and force that square peg in that round hole? Or is it going to be better to take a step back, okay, instead of, surrendering to a sense of being powerless, being helpless? Maybe you are in that moment. But by surrendering to a higher power, something greater than yourself, not to any other person or, thing on this earth, but to surrender to that higher power is the thing that saved my life. And I got to hear a lot of different iterations of what people's take on surrendering meant, and just a lot of different perspective to look at it. So kind of what I wanted to talk about today was just kind of some of those different angles of looking at surrendering and where that's led people that I was dealing with last night. And I don't want you guys to think of this strictly as alcohol, okay? Wherever you're at in your life, if you're miserable for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what the reason is. If you're in a place where you're not content or happy with where you're at, you need to look at surrendering to a higher power, whether that be God or whatever it is you look into or worship for. Maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's God, maybe it's Buddha. It doesn't matter. You just have to have something that's greater than your physical self. So one of the first things I got to hear was, surrendering can come in the biggest of open stadiums, or it can come in the smallest of boxes. And for me, that's what clicked, because that's where I found salvation, was in a box, in jail. And I was on a very good losing streak for a lot of days in a row, and if that's where my culmination led me to, was my 4th DWI and another 24-hour holding cell, and to find salvation there, it means it's that God's with you everywhere you go, and for me, it took a long time to realize what that meant, until I realized how many people were praying for me that I didn't know were praying for me. People that I care about were concerned about me, and those prayers reach. It's just, for me, I wasn't ready to listen to them or hear them until my time was called. So, one of the things I got to hear about was a gentleman who, his take on it was a little different than what I expected, or what I was expecting from him. Someone I really look up to and have gotten a lot of useful wisdom. And he kind of looked at it from a standpoint of, he's got an anniversary coming up of his would-been granddaughter being 3 years old. She was a twin, and only one of them made it. They were both born, but the one didn't make it, after a couple of days. So that 3rd year anniversary is coming up next week, and he's tried dealing with it in the previous years on his own, without the help of God, without the submission and surrendering to God to help through the times that we can't handle ourselves. And this time through, and honestly, that was part of why he relapsed before. Whenever it first happened, he went back out without God at his side. So, something to think about is this time he's more prepared. He knows where he went wrong last time. And again, it's just learning from previous mistakes, just doing that same thing over and over, expecting a different result. It's so true, and not just alcohol, but everything we do. So again, there's a perspective of someone looking to surrender to get that strength from God to get through those tough days, those tough weeks, those tough times of your life, where you might be reminded of something that's traumatized us, or that we're still struggling with. So, as a dad, a grandfather now, I think it's one of those things too, the older we get, we realize this time, how special time is. We don't have an unlimited amount of it. And just like you said before, your kids are growing up so fast and they're getting so grown up, and it's like, where's my baby girl, and now she's putting on makeup and stuff like that. So, the big thing too is just appreciating the time you have with those people that you want to spend time with, not the ones that you have to spend time with, or I better hang out with the wife or I'm going to be in trouble. It's like, why are you looking at it like that? Because kind of what we talked about Saturday is just how your life has changed since we've been doing the podcast, since we've been kind of hanging out, spending more time together. Because you have an appreciation for the things that most people overlook. I think one of the things we talked about was, Saturday night, you were going to a football banquet or something, or a fundraiser, and everyone that you've talked to that's around your age, give or take a few years younger or older, their whole plan of this weekend was Saturday night so they can get the beer pong out, and they're going to rip in shots and purple Hooters and whatever it is. And it's just like, whoa, like what, bro, I'm going to be there for like the dinner, and then I'm going home. Like, what are you talking? Like, no, man, we're going to be out till 5 a.m. just like last year. Remember, so-and-so woke up in the pasture butt naked, and it's just like, so just your view on things from like before until now, like just kind of walk us through where, just the things that have changed in that short time of, how you used to look at things versus how you kind of see things like that now.
To take it all the way down to childhood, like surrender to us was just Bugs Bunny with his little white flag. Yes. It's weakness, like we saw it in the cartoons, it's weakness. And I really never liked the word surrender growing up and learning because it's weakness.
Yeah.
In sports, you don't surrender. It's illegal to surrender, especially in wrestling. And it doesn't mean give up, right? It's more of like a give in. If you are getting whooped, like give in. And what I've translated to another way to see surrender is, can I be with this? It's something that I've been teaching that we practice up there in the front with the real estate kids. Ask yourself, can I be with this? Can I be with this tomorrow morning when I feel like shit after drinking all this sugar, more alcohol, and feeling that way? Can I be with this tomorrow morning when my kids need me 1,000%? No, I can't anymore. And it's easy asking myself that question. So it's been the easy way for me to surrender, saying, can I be with this? And no, I can't. I can no longer hold on to this agent who we're not communicating very well. I'm going to surrender to that and take care of the business and then bring it back to the business. I have to surrender my Wednesdays at 10 a.m. to be present for Matt. And I can be with this. I need to be with this. And it's simple for me because of also my partner who I've chosen. As soon as I knew she was the mom, that's when my life was like, boom. Like, this is the mom of my children. And then I saw how she was with kids. I saw how it was a beautiful moment. This is the woman for the rest of my life. And every day it's still that same woman, and the way she takes care of our kids, what she does for her and their kids' friends. It's amazing. She's even other moms realize, like, Stacy's an angel. I don't know how she does it. She's got a good support system, and she's got a good community behind her back. And
well, that's a team effort, It's
it is
not
a team
just
effort.
a one-man show or a one-woman show.
It's a village. We help other parents in ways they help us differently, not just by watching our kids.
Yeah.
We take care of each other, and it's great. It's great, but really back to the overcomplicating of things. Man, it really is that simple. And if you want to narrow the surrender down, can I be with this? God, can I be with this? God, I can no longer be in this relationship. I can't be with this. What do I do? That's when the simple conversation begins. I think it's a good way to see it. Or, God, I can no longer wake up feeling drunk and do this again another day. Boom, there's the AA meetings, wherever you're at. And it's locals, right? It's local AA meetings.
Yeah, it's,
AA... But sometimes it's intimidating because, like, is that intimidating still? Like, who's going to be in here? What are they going to say about me?
No, I walk into AA at specifically Wardsville, like that's my go-to meeting. And first thing I do when I walk in there, I say hi to Paul, give him a nice good old shoulder rub, and then I give old Chip a pat on the side, and I just work my way down. I haven't seen those guys, and I don't make it every Tuesday, so whenever I do, I make sure I'm there. But again, like, it's just crazy too, because last night I was so I got my grass cut before I went out to that meeting. So I was mowing the grass, and like, I was thinking about this kid, he's probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger, but anyways, around my age, I call him a kid. But compared to everybody else in there, we're the kids. There's a lot of older people in there that have a lot of years of sobriety, so not to take anything away from them, but just how I kind of label things. But I was thinking while I was mowing the grass, I'm like, man, if I don't see Taylor there tonight, like, I need to talk to Brian and see how Taylor's doing, hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully he's just busy or, whatever it is. But haven't seen him in a while. And, he was one of the guys that was there whenever I was first coming into that Wardsville meeting. And I was like, and if I don't see so-and-so there too, I'm going to also check in. I need to call them and see how they're doing because I haven't talked to them in a while. And guess what? I showed up, they were both there.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, it's just like, man, that's wild. And it's stuff like that happens all the time. Like, cannot say enough about just how, like I said, how life has lined up for me since I made that choice to surrender to God. Like, everything I've done that's just the next right thing, and I haven't been perfect at it, but things like that just happen, where it's like, get out of town. Like, I was just thinking this like 3 hours ago, I was cutting the grass for no apparent reason, just his name and face popped in my head, It's like, what, I need to ask.
Are they doing great?
Yeah, he's just working a bunch and he's got a farm, so after he gets done working, he's got, so it's just, and he's got 5 kids at home and they're all under the age of 8, so it's like his wife's a stay-at-home mom, and the wife would like him to be home, like she didn't really want him to go to the meeting last night, but it's like, hey, I got to be selfish and I got to go. Like, this is for me.
That's the one.
And as much as she wanted him to be there, because the kids don't get to see him as much, just because he's busy with work and doing all that. But he said they're getting ready to take a 2-week trip out to Montana. So give him a chance to kind of unplug, and just we got to talk about while I was out there. Dude, you're going to love it. It's going to be great.
He's going to the same Missoula?
They're going to be up there for a couple weeks, so I think they're going to be bouncing around. So, but yeah, so I mean, it's just stuff like that. And these people that we're talking, it's just nice to hear because I got a quick update on what's been going on, and things have been good, but just busy, life.
And that's how simple the conversation has to be.
Yeah.
Or that's how complicated it has to be. I think we talked about that on the radio. When you're trying to ask for help, it's not that difficult. Just reach out, just have that first conversation. It can change everything.
Yeah.
And it can start, we're here for that. We actually had some people reach out to us that want to now be more involved with this podcast after this weekend, which is huge. Like we weren't expecting any of
we weren't advertising
a 48 episode. Like we were just on the others. We've been everywhere in this office trying to film it,
trying to find the right place.
But the routine is just the simple conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, and think about it, like. Whenever I was going through all my, we were talking about a lot, the term foxhole prayers came up a lot yesterday, where you get in trouble. Dear God, get me out of this. I swear I'll never drink again. Dear God, get me, I swear if you don't make me feel hungover anymore, I promise I'll never drink
What's
again.
What's that called?
A foxhole prayer.
A foxhole prayer.
A prayer you say when you're in the foxhole.
Yeah, I never had a title for it. Now I know what it means.
Foxhole prayer, yeah. So that was a common phrase used last night. And we, and everybody that went around the table, we've all said them, But the thing about it is like, when I finally got saved was the first time that I had said a foxhole prayer without a caveat. Without, if you do this for me, I'll do this. Well, that's not how God works. Like, God is the creator, the man that started it, the man that can finish it, the man that can end it. Like, you don't negotiate with God. You just don't. You just have to be 100% in, or there's the other option, And that's where I see people get held up a lot, and not just with alcohol, but with anything, with food, with exercise, with diet, with healthy relationships with their kids or their wife or all of them, It's not limited or pigeonholed to just alcohol. It's about anything that you're struggling with. So if, a lot of people, that were talking last night, there was either someone was at, I'd given up on God because I felt like God had given up on me. And then there were other people, and, so that's one extreme. And then you had people on the other side here that were, I was so embarrassed and so ashamed of myself that I was too embarrassed to even ask God for help, And that's, depending on the day you caught me, I was somewhere in between those two things, And a lot of the days it was, why, God, have you forsaken me? Why are you letting this happen? And it was, and again, in the long and short of it, I wasn't taking accountability for my actions. So every time I got in trouble, it was God's fault. Every time something didn't go my way and somebody else got the job or the promotion that I didn't get, God's fault. Well, what am I doing to be eligible for this position or this job or this raise or this promotion or whatever it is? Am I doing everything I can? And if I'm being 100% honest, no, I'm not. And before I would fight you tooth and nail that I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this. And then it's like, no, I hear what you're saying, but why are you yelling at me? It's like I have to yell louder to make it sound more authentic. When all it is me covering up for the lack of effort that I'm putting in to achieve whatever it is I'm trying to achieve. So I think the biggest thing is if you're in a place where you're just really stuck, you can't be asking God for help, but only if he does this. You know what I mean? It's got to be blind faith, because that's the true test of where your faith is. No one's ever seen God. No one's ever, physically touched Jesus that we know that's alive right now. So that's where that blind faith comes in. And it's a test, and I get tested all the time. And I don't pass every single test, but I also don't question a lot when things keep happening to me the way they have.
And then another way to view it is all of this is God. And us being able to communicate through this and put this in motion is God. It's godly. On another angle of what you were talking about, how when we grieve or the grieving process, we blame God right away. And I went through that. I lost a parent. I lost my dad, as some of you heard me talk about this. And a family member was like, I prayed for you to keep him alive and you took him away from me. So we're not trained any other way. Or that's one way to see it from your example, right? Or after I asked for help, went to talk to somebody, and it was like, okay, God, I get it. That was my dad's life. I will continue to make him proud. I will continue to respect him, and I will honor him every day with my decisions, because I was just talking about this moment. That December 2020 was just rough from the first to the end of the year, just because everything that happened had to happen. And my dad had left me, he bought me a Tito's big gallon one, or I don't know what that size is, the handle, we'll call it the handle. And there was Tito's left, and I was like, New Year's Eve party. Okay. I can finally, because I had gotten a vasectomy also
oh my goodness,
that month. So everything, right? And then it was a party down the street from my house, and that Tito's didn't have a chance, So that was really my last way to grieve, or I think it was after that month that I was able to go and talk to somebody, because I just wanted to shut the brain down that night, and I know how to do it. That's what alcohol helps you do, right? Like it just blacks you out.
Yeah.
And then you're able to sleep. But you're just alive or dead. I don't know. Some people still haven't woken up from their blackoutness.
Yeah.
The night they passed out because they were wasted, because they were drunk, and that accident happened.
Well, I don't remember anything about my last drunk. I woke up in front of my house with my truck front end smashed in, and I was in my driveway.
And we've done it.
Like what?
So many times.
Whew. So I mean, just the fear of the unknown of what you did, and that this substance can literally.
Oh, man. That's God.
I mean, I could have murdered.
How is that not God?
I could have murdered somebody without even knowing what I was doing.
I'm sorry, parents and families and community for being out there doing stupid shit like that back in the days.
Yeah, well, not even just that, but like the amount of times I should be dead, or like killed somebody else, or hurt somebody, or put someone in harm's way. You kind of deserved
to not be alive if you're going to risk everybody else's life.
Well, and by the end, I justified it. Like this is my life. This is the path that God planned out for me. So I guess I'm the town drunk.
Wow.
I guess I'm the village clown. And I got to a point where I was okay with it. I just given up on myself and quit trying.
And you no longer think like that anymore?
Not at all. No. I mean, again, looking back at this, the way I used to think, it makes no fucking sense, But I had to go through what I went. I mean,
right, correct,
I had to go through the valley of the shadow of death, to come through the other side. I took a peek, and like I said, for as many times as I should be dead, like we're talking more than 10, legit. You were super lucky to be alive, and I've had multiple doctors tell me that over my course, but. The way I looked at it whenever I got sober is that in going through all of my near-death experiences, one by one, which when you go through the 12 steps of AA, you got to go through all the bad shit you've ever done, and it's not easy and it's not fun. It's super uncomfortable. But that's where I got into running, because I had to run to get my brain to open up, and to get what's in my head on paper. And, so it took a lot of work. lot of effort, but at the same time, this wasn't something that just one day it just popped in there. It took a lot of work and analyzing myself and where did I go wrong and what's the patterns that are just reoccurring that I need to fix, I need to work on. And I had plenty to work on. My side of the street was on fire and flooded, where everything else on the other side's prim and proper and trimmed and groomed. So that was one thing whenever I first got sober was like, okay, if I'm still alive and I'm still here, there's got to be a greater purpose for me that God has intended I'm not fully utilizing or understanding yet. So here we are, fast forward 7 years, and here we are trying to help people.
Yeah.
And again, it's the most satisfying thing I do, and this isn't something that we make money off of. Like if you don't feel like a better person trying to help people or trying to do that next right thing, like you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and just see where your life's at and what's motivating you to do the things that you're doing. Is it do you have good intentions involved? Is it something that you're putting a lot of thought into, or is it just paycheck, boozed up Saturday, paycheck, boozed up Saturday, like you're just working all week for a blackout Saturday, half the day Sunday? Well, guess what? Football is coming up, so now we've got all day Saturday, all day Sunday with college and NFL football. Guys, I'm here to tell you, I used to partake in all that stuff. There's more to life than Saturday college football and Sunday NFL. Thursday night NFL football, Monday night NFL football. Like, it doesn't require a 12-pack to do all those things, And I think when you get to that point, you're going to realize there's a lot more to life than football, than baseball, than whatever the sports you like to watch on the weekends, That's time you could be getting better. That's time you could be outside playing with your kids. That's time you could be bettering yourself for a promotion that might be coming up in the next 6 months, or, you're wanting to start your own business because you're tired of how the corporate industry works and you want to be able to do things on your own. Well, that's going to take work. That's going to take work where instead of spending 9 hours watching football on Saturday, maybe you just watch the home team game.
Yeah, of entertainment. That's what was I going to say? It's investing in yourself. That's not investing in yourself.
Correct.
Sitting there all those hours. Yes, you're playing fantasy football. Yes, that stuff kind of matters, but
let me ask you this. Does your fantasy football team play better when you watch, or does it matter if you're watching or not once you set the lineup?
To answer that question, I don't do fantasy football, but I did last year because the dads counted me in. I led through the first half of the season, and I wasn't even present for the
draft.
The draft.
Yeah.
So everybody was so mad at me. I wasn't subbing anybody out. I didn't care. I was just number one for the first half of the season. Of course, injuries happen, but I never changed anything. I didn't care. I didn't have time to. So I was doing other things with the the time that I won't get back.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that this is like a small niche. Like, I have probably 40 people that I know that every Saturday and every Sunday they're going to be on a couch with a cocktail, a beer, and that's how they're going to spend their weekend. And that's okay. Like, if that's what they want to do,
it's okay.
I'm not in charge. It's not my decision to say yay or nay. My thing is, I just lead by example to show people that there's more to life than Saturday you're on a couch for 13 hours watching football with your friends or your family or whoever.
That's one area that I've surrendered is sports, because I realized when I got into college football, it's strictly business.
Yeah.
I was working so hard where other players were getting paid more for scholarships. They didn't even know how to spell their name. But they were family members, they were linebackers or backup quarterbacks. I had more points, I led in tackles, I watched film, I worked harder than them. Year after year after year, I never got a raise because I was just the kicker. Waldo, you're just the kicker. What do I got to get you a raise for? It's like,
I don't know. I led the team in points last year.
and punting, but the records are there, the stats are there. Like, I found my old program, and like second team, first team, honorable mention, my name is on there. It's like, kids, I have proof.
Yeah.
There was proof that I worked hard in college. But I have surrendered to sports. I was a big Formula One fan. I would go to my neighbor's house at 2 a.m. when the races were at 2 a.m. because I didn't have ESPN.
In Monaco or wherever they're at.
Yeah, because I didn't have, or Singapore.
Tokyo.
Yeah, I didn't have ESPN, but they paid for ESPN, so I'd be in the basement, away from. And then Stacy's away because I'm not home. But I needed to watch the race, and then it just got very business-y-ish, the race, and then it's just entertainment. It's just views. I kind of understand that part of it all.
Yeah.
So I've just surrendered to sports. I just watch the 8-minute highlights on YouTube when I'm waiting for my kids because we've told them to hurry up for the last 2 hours. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. But 8 minutes instead of hours.
Yeah.
And sleep over like no sleep. Being present over alcohol and Like I'm still able to enjoy like I drink champagne now because it's less calories, less sugar, because of the research I've done.
Yeah.
But not every night. But surrendering to those kind of hobbies that did nothing for me or develop me as a human being, invested time in me and the family that I'm trying to be there for. It was hard because, we're supposed to go and hang out, watch football, watch it with the guys. So with Jacob, we still incorporate football and baseball with highlights. Mm-hmm. And it's programming into his head, well, that's what he did. So we don't have to watch the whole game, which we do watch the whole World Cup games. Mm-hmm. Because they're playing the whole 45 minutes, even though the ball is getting kicked around. But football, you're sitting there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Call it 3.
3 hours.
Call it 3.
With ads, with timeouts, with replays, with TV timeouts. When only 8 to 11 minutes of actual football is played of 3. So that could be a highlight, guys, fellas.
Yeah. Yep. But
depending on the result you want.
Yeah, and again, wherever you're at, if you're content with where you're at, then keep doing what you're doing.
If you could be with that, if your family could be with that, if your wife could be with that, if your wife could be with you golfing every day, 4 or 6 hours, depending on how you show up at home after that, if she can be with that, then you don't need any help.
Yeah, yep, got it all figured out.
Yep.
But but if you do find yourself asking for more, you need to get honest with yourself and be honest with where you're at. And you got to be understanding when you get to that point that you're going to have to come to the agreement with yourself that you're part of the problem in some of these issues you're having.
And we go back to last week's episode, ego.
Yeah, and again, I was very good at self-sabotaging myself. Mm-hmm. Like things would be going good and great, and I would almost subconsciously have to divert, and just doing that over and over and over and over again. It's exhausting to the point where I was either going to kill myself in the process of trying to figure it out by myself, or I could make some steps I hadn't made before and ask God for help without any caveats, and listen to the people that still believed in me, because at that point I wasn't believing in myself. I'd given up on myself. Just thought this was where I was supposed to be, and this is what God expected of me and wanted of me. So here I am. So I listened to those people that did believe in me. My parents, first and foremost, were the only ones I think that still had any kind of hope left, that maybe I could be, reformed, or I could change my ways. And that's what I needed at the beginning. I needed people to believe in me before I could start believing in myself again. Same thing with how the race.
But they never stopped believing in you. That's just what you thought.
Yeah, that's what I stinking thinking.
Yeah.
That's my stinking thinking. Like I said, I called Valley Hope, or I called my grandma from Valley Hope. Halfway through my 28-day stint, told her I'm up here getting help from my alcohol and trying to get a grip on things, and trying to come back better for you guys. And she said, "Oh my gosh, can't believe that God's finally answered my prayers." So it's like, finally, like, how long you been praying for? You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea any of this was happening behind the scenes, and my grandma was praying for me. God knows how long and how often.
And here's a tip. If you don't think anybody believes in you, go talk to grandma, or go find a grandma, because one of the most incredible human beings was Stacy's grandma, Honey, rest in peace. It was just that grandma, and her last words to me were, "I love you, Waldo." I have never heard that, but the way she said it meant so much. I took care of her, Stacy, and her great grandchildren, Still doing that. I'm still honoring that for her. Mm-hmm. But she believed in me, and I hardly got to see her. She loved my friends. the guys that were scared to go to Holt Summit because they weren't supposed to cross the bridge because they played football at Lincoln University, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And she just took them in. She took us in, fed everybody. But I still know to this day, like, Honey believes in me, and my grandma still believes in me that I go see, and she stares at my kids, and I see it in her face, like I knew you would do this, you know, but you didn't know this, but I did. They have those grandmas. Shout out to all the grandmas.
Yeah, shout out grandmas.
For believing in us. Start there.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, so again, once I started making those steps in the right direction, so I made that phone call to my grandma about 14 days in or so while I was at Valley Hope. And a couple days later, my mom told me that they were putting her on hospice. So now I'm worried that I'm not going to get to see her before I get out. You know, and I got out on the 28th day, got home, and I was the last person to get to have a conversation with her before she passed away. And you know, just thinking back, like if I look back at all the holidays that I came in just feeling like absolute dog shit, just no sleep, stayed up drinking all night long, you know, that's how I was showing up for my family. Just hating to be there, hating myself, hating everything around me, bright lights, you know, whatever it was. I was just irritable, I was miserable, I was not happy to be there. And that's time I'm never going to get back with those people, you know? And my grandma and I were very close. I was the youngest grandson, so you know, and everybody else was 5, 6 years older. So while everybody else went and played, I got to hang out with grandma, you know? So we spent a lot of time together, and, you know, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't gone through what I went through. So, you know, I was nervous to even call her. And then I called her, and that went great, because next thing you know, I'm crying because she's been praying for me for God knows how long. And then after that, she gets put on hospice. Well, now I'm afraid I'm not going to get to see her. I'm thinking about, do I need to break out of this place to get home? Like, I need to see my grandma before she dies. And, you know, it worked out where whenever I got out, I was able to see her. And I got to have a last conversation with her before the nurses came in, and, you know, she passed away. And I don't know how I would have been able to live with myself if I was not able to at least see her or make the strides that I've made to be where I'm at today, you know? So God is real. God is everywhere, you know, and God's always listening, regardless of what you might think. You know, everything happens for a reason, and we're not allowed to understand all that. You know, that's the Creator's plan, and if we can process that and not be quick to judge or blame any one person, entity, higher power, you know, but that's part of the grieving process. You know, if we go through something traumatic, someone passes away unexpectedly, or just an older sibling passes away, you know, it's not to say there's not going to be questions, grief. You know, we've all lost somebody that we care about. So just be careful in who we point fingers at and who we want to blame. You know, because sometimes things happen for reasons that we don't fully understand yet. But you know, if I would jump to all these conclusions and then see how my life has panned out, I would have been wrong probably 100% of the time. Because when I think I'm in charge, God lets me know pretty quick that I'm not. So, and I'm grateful for that today. I couldn't say that before. I would be angry with God all the time. And today it's a healthy relationship that I just follow His lead, you know, and it takes a lot of pressure off of me on what I'm supposed to be doing next, you know. So, yeah, surrendering.
There is another way, and we share these stories because everybody's dealing with something. Everybody's going through it, and we're not perfect.
Well, and again, just kind of span it out to look at our nation today. Okay, so you look at like all of our political figures, like how honest are they being with us American people today? You know, I think we're all pretty aware that we're not getting told the full story.
We just saw that they don't have to tell us how honest they're being with us.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, like if we want to make changes, it starts with us, and it starts with us being honest with ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like if we just went a day without being nefarious or lying about simple stuff, big stuff, small things, big things, like if everybody just had a day where we didn't do that, we would fix a lot of our problems. You know, but we've got too much dishonesty, too much good for me, not for thee, too much, I'm in it for myself, and I'll step on everybody's head to get to where I need to be.
It's all noise.
That's not what our intention on this earth is supposed to be. You know, money is meant to, you know, take care of the amenities and things of our life that we've got to pay for. But, you know, you get to a certain point when you can't spend it all. What are we doing it for? You know, so, yeah, I mean, just being honest with yourself and being not, and I'll use an AA term here to wrap this up, but don't be honest with yourself. The program is one of rigorous honesty, which is what I love about the AA Big Book, is because the language they use in it, they could have just said, hey, be honest. No, we want you to be rigorously honest, because that rigorous means it's a never-ending process of being honest with yourself. Every week, every month, every 6 months, every year, check back in with yourself and see where you're at, you know? And when you look at it like it's a never-ending process, it doesn't put as much pressure on you to climb that ladder to the top, because there is no top. The top's when we die, you know? So instead of looking at it like a ladder, it kind of brought me to ease whenever somebody explained it like a clock. You know, we're going to see the same time a couple times a day, every day. When you know it's like that and there's not a mountain you're climbing to get to the top, for me, that just kind of simplified things in my stupid big brain. So,
the busy place.
Anyone that's out there struggling, talk to God and don't ask Him for anything in return. Just ask for what you're needing in this moment.
It might be a time to surrender, or ask yourself, if you can't surrender, and can you be with this?
Yeah,
Can you be with
and
that?
if you're having trouble surrendering, ask yourself why. You know?
Boom.
Until next week, we will see you guys next time.
Keep us posted. Adios.